Simene de Tos with Dunai, our film any adrenaline. Emerson sends my war, my gun and Yama who was near Dika, 8 years and move for which he did because I saw Eddie Amamino. And the Babasum was a prime, maybe a prim to wear Cassier. And so maybe I made a Babasum on a door to be near Dimacutini B. And ye, a chief of staff, a young Munyan for Julius Deborah, Eden Sembi Atwabons, and sounds to the Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna, Idrisu Akasa. Can you know that on the Duano or Mashibiji from Munyan for Mahama Yaraga? Akasa, and some winning some old Dopia can of the Babasum more. It was Major Santa, me and Magic Penny, a dear Yakas with Babasum, the damage so, and the miss now starting with Chamaha. And so more enrichy and our hosama and yagro is ye a recruitment and a coso or manganum has seen my union ma in sia at fast or at one and I don't know so I'm a meshibity for more gun has say akasa at the atabont is a best you say piano since the same or one as a nema and as since you see home was his excellency John Germany aya on Shanu in Pimpin and Sana Dachi and Sanko for uniform I'm a beer.
So that the desperation does not push them into unsafe situations. Let this not be another headline that fades away, Mr. Speaker. Let it be a turning point that compels us to act responsibly, humanely, and with urgency towards our young citizens.
And as Bunu is, so in totality about 50,000 youthful, able-bodied men looking for non-existing jobs. This also tells us as if, as a country, we have not been fair to the youth. Let's think of that direction, Mr. Speaker. 55,000 people looking for jobs. It means they have not been in employment, and that is what it means.
But I believe sincerely that if we, all of us, put our shoulders to the wheel, we will find a lasting solution to this problem. It is indeed a national tragedy that we will never want to see again. And the only way we can never see again is when we come together to find a lasting solution.
Some Cornemu and a customer for Mashibiji Fair, right? Honorable Ababin Kingsford, Sumana Aban, and so a father, a coin so at 100,000 Ghana cedis, and my a year Busniawo on another year of Mokaya and Pimpin, or a 37 military hospital, as Yarishan.
Follow up on this matter, and later on, leaders. You can program and schedule a date for us to get the committee and the minister to give us a full brief on it, and we will share information because it's something that is already being debated by civil society, and there are a lot of proposals. They will give us the reasons why those proposals cannot be implemented. We can all work together and find a solution to this problem. If not, the future may even be more terrifying than what we've experienced today. So I want to, on behalf of the House, humbly convey the deepest condolences to the parents and families of the deceased. The House prays for the speedy healing and recovery of the injured. And we also sympathize with the Ministry of Defense and call on the leadership to have cool hearts to handle this matter. And we thank sincerely the health personnel, together with the ambulance service and all those that have rushed to at least attend to.
Chief of Staff Ayon Munyan for Julius Deborah, and anyone in a probe of Piemu, a Chief Foods, a Ghana Limited, and Crime Company Mantemu. A book of Piemu, a home no boy, a penny for Honmabasopa, sɛ wɔhwɛ ɛyɛ mfie kakra na ɛyɛ Nutri-Snacks ɔman Ghana ɛhyɛ aseɛ ɛdi dwuma na kyerɛ sɛ wɔn aboa ama unemployment rate no akɔ fam yie pa ɛnna mmaburu bebree ɛnyɛ adwuma yɛsan wɔn nnwuma pa wɔyɛ nti wɔbɔ wɔn aba so.
It's so impressive. You could also tell how much attention they pay into the Ghanaian employees. Also great hearing from some of them. They've been here 14 years, 13 years. So there must be a mix or a company policy that encourages the workers to stay on. Another important thing, which of course is the main reason why we came here, is that as part of what the president intends doing, is introducing the 24-hour economy that we all know. And we were looking for a model, a business model that is actually putting into practice some of the vision that the president is aiming at. And we were so impressed to hear from them that one of the things they are looking at, which they believe in, is that Ghana must be the manufacturing hub of West Africa. And I was so impressed to hear that they export as far as Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso, and all those countries. I think that is the model that President Obama has in mind, that ultimately, if we are able to have several such manufacturing entities that will believe in the vision that they should run 2 or 3 shifts as a way of creating employment for Ghanaians. When we got here, from what they explained, they even started doing 24-hour economy long ago. In fact, the explanation is that at one of their plants, they are even doing triple shifts, which is very, very impressive. The other side of it is that they also explained to us that almost all their inputs are locally sourced. You know, when we got to the packaging department and the gentleman was explaining that, look, almost all the things you see in here, we don't necessarily import them from outside. We asked them that the president has sent us here with his minister responsible for manufacturing and things like that, to ask from them firsthand, what are the things that if they were to sit with the president and the president should ask them, what can I do to enable you expand your factory, to enable you employ more Ghanaians? And I love some of the things that they said to us. Luckily, some of them she's already considering. Others we need to tweak it a bit, and then to make sure that they are also comfortable, because when you have business people, investors come into your country and you don't give them the incentives or the support they need to enable them to operate freely, trust me, capital flies.
It reiterates our commitment to investment. It reiterates our commitment to quality. It reiterates our commitment to Ghana, that we believe that made in Ghana is something, and we've been there doing that for 14 years. We've been building brands from ground up. So I feel very happy when we are investing further and we can see the results. So every 3 years, we evaluate all our equipment. We look at where we can upgrade. We look at new technologies. We look at where all new things are happening, and we try and bring them to Ghana. All these engagements give us a lot of solace that the government is there listening to us, and we are completely committed. For this Make in Ghana 24-hour economy, we are already there, right? We want to make Ghana the hub for West Africa. All our manufacturing, in fact, we almost export to 11 countries right now, okay? All these things, all these incentives, all this support will help us. And it's great that the government is listening to us. All these engagements really help us put our points on the table.
It's for many of us seeing TVET not as an alternative route, but a second route. We need to correct that erroneous impression. That is only persons who have not made it academically who go to TVET institutions.
That is a very wrong social notion and very wrong about TVET. There are persons who naturally are born with hands-on skills. TVET offers them an opportunity to upgrade and make use of those hands-on skills. So to attain quality TVET, first of all, so I'm speaking to myself as representative of government, we must address the accessibility challenges of TVET. And that will mean we must expand access to TVET. And the only way we can expand access to TVET is through infrastructure improvement of all our TVET institutions across the country. This year, I asked GET Fund to make an allocation for TVET. I'm happy to announce to you that the money will be released for you before 31st December.
We share our vision of a world where every young person can thrive and where they can belong. These volunteers bring expertise and support to our development programs that improve quality opportunities for youth in developing countries, creating pathways for meaningful impact and shared learning. In line with our TVET support, our Activate project is focused on increasing access to sustainable, high-quality, and gender-responsive employment.
TVET is not a peripheral option, but a national imperative. Our most reliable engine for economic diversification, social inclusion, and sustainable development. Therefore, we must secure diversified and robust funding sources from government allocations and dedicated levies to public-private partnerships and international grants to transform our institutions, upgrade infrastructure, and make technical education as attractive and rewarding as any other academic pathway.
And to resource our TVET schools generously, so they can deliver modern training and directly tackle the unemployment menace. This means upgrading infrastructure, smart labs, high-speed internet, green workshops to meet the 21st century demands, and ensuring the funding reaches the classrooms where it matters most.
Well, I'm not sure if you about no journey anymore. And they were Casa NPP and Asema, your former war, a parliament, Edema NPP, and Manuku, Moyo Munyamana Chese, Munyo margin some mobile back power and poo. This one said, Berna NPP and Manuku, and the Yama Bibra, my uncle, Yamo, and Intina, in DC, Edan, on some Friday, so a name for NPP opposition. Come here, say we said when you more. Then I'm going here ready.
Mr. Speaker, our people say that it is when the toad is dead that you see its full length. It is not lamentations. It is the continued unearthing of the bad economic management of the NPP that is being revealed every day. Mr. Speaker, it is obvious from the budget statement that the NPP government was the worst case study of bad economic management. The NPP was bad in government, but even worse in opposition. Worse in opposition. Indeed, I have heard Ghanaians ask if it is too late to replace them with the CPP.
as the official opposition. Mr. Speaker, Parliament was given a budget of 1.1 billion in 2025. In this year's budget, Parliament is being given a proposed figure of 1.6 billion. And you are aware. You are aware. Mr. Speaker, if ministers are quiet, it is because this budget was presented to ministers in cabinet and they approved it before it was brought to you. So they are aware. They are aware of all the figures. Everything in the budget was approved in cabinet where all these ministers were in attendance. Mr. Speaker, I am surprised that you didn't hear that the 24-hour economy program, there is a budgetary allocation of 150 million Ghana cedis. So I'm surprised that you didn't listen. Mr. Speaker, I am not surprised. I am not surprised that Ghanaians are now clamoring for you to be replaced by CPP as the official opposition. Mr. Speaker, we thank the Minister for Finance. His work clearly has been very commendable. This country is being turned around. Mr. Speaker, it is obvious inflation figures have drastically reduced to single digits. Mr. Speaker, we are paying our debts. Mr. Speaker, international rating agencies are giving us better ratings. Mr. Speaker, this budget and the expenditure of last year and the effort to stabilize the economy is what will create the jobs. The youth should be hopeful. What happened yesterday? What happened yesterday?
Acting Chief Justice Boni na ochi ashase no kopie vetting committee na say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama President man na no kwa fata say the no and say won sem fata every man for what we and ne o makasa e dia to avon say ye dibra aban special deputy man onunya for bafo boni ka we bia eni hu betimi eni ma Chief Justice.
The motion has accordingly been adopted. This Honorable House has accordingly approved the nomination of Justice Paul Bafubone as Chief Justice of the Republic in accordance with Article 114, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution, respectively. I want to take this opportunity to, on behalf of the House, congratulate the nominee on his approval by Parliament. I urge the nominee to take all what has happened right up from the day of the nomination up to his approval, I should say prior approval by Parliament, into consideration in his tenure.
Adesima meko so akenkan kase bono eje amamo so for show me sikasem so nunyam for atforce ne da okopie mu jefi edi 2026 budget ebecho mangana adeshe no ho no kasa edi ato abonten se ye aboso ne kakrani a ndi se mo ne ku no efa ne ntoma prefer esi wo bu o mangana no ya dia niema ye mfi mo chi etwemu abanda ne ntumi ni na ben wo bo ho modi a mo ye ne kakrani wo jidie se enni se mfie na no ebeso no.
Through visionary leadership, fiscal discipline, and policy consistency, the tide has finally turned. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy has now recovered, marked by renewed investor confidence and an improved macroeconomic outlook. Mr. Speaker, I'll now give you rail sector performance. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy has regained its rhythm. Rail GDP expanded by 6.3% in the first half of 2025, up from 5.1% in the same period of 2024, driven by stronger agriculture and service, lower inflation, and renewed business confidence. Non-oil GDP grew by 7.8%, showing that our growth is now powered by domestic production. Mr. Speaker, the service sector remains the heartbeat of recovery, surging 8.8%, with ICT up 17.2%, finance and insurance up 9.5%, and education up 14.9%. Agriculture, the backbone of stability, also grew by 6%, doubling that of last year. Mr. Speaker, cocoa rebounded from a sharp 21.4%, contracting to 2.8% growth. Mr. Speaker, thanks to the targeted farm support and smarter policies. Industry held steady despite reduced oil output. Manufacturing rose 6.3% and construction 4.0%, reflecting reliable energy and revived infrastructure projects. On the demand side, Right Honorable Speaker, household consumption grew by 8.2%, reflecting stronger household confidence. Government spending also slowed to 3.7%, proving fiscal discipline. The Speaker, export grew 11.5%, led by gold, cocoa, and non-traditional export. This is the growth that creates jobs, lifts incomes, and builds lasting stability.
Last quarter 2024 budget, it doesn't give assurance of solving the problems confronting our fiscal space, i.e. revenue generation, debt sustainability, and government spending in areas that will enhance productivity. There's nothing like it. Not at all. It's actually a drive too soon. It's not a magic. What would you recommend? Oh, the next time they should come better. Let's see, because what they do cannot solve our problems. It's just a political budget. They repeal COVID. So because they repeal a tax component, they've done well. A country that is already having issues when it comes to its tax rate economy. A country that we are always borrowing, and even today we are borrowing because our revenue generation is inadequate. So if you cut a tax, just to make Ghanaians happy and destroy the country, that's how you manage the country. So it's not affordable. But let's see the actual debate next week. So don't worry.
World Health Organizations.
According to the agency, more than 300,000 cholera and suspected cholera cases have been recorded recently, along with over 7,000 deaths, a rise of more than 30% compared to last year. Countries such as Angola and Burundi have seen infections spike dramatically in recent weeks due to limited access to safe drinking water. Cholera, a fast-spreading and potentially deadly disease, thrives where sewage systems are weak and water sources are contaminated. There are signs of progress in some areas. The African CDC reports that the outbreak in Congo is now under control, with cases declining. Improvements have also been noted in South Sudan and Somalia, though conflict-affected regions remain particularly vulnerable as overcrowded camps with poor sanitation accelerate transmission.
United Nations and African Union
with the goal of ending conflict on the continent and enhancing representation at the United Nations.
Let's say that 2030 might not be a realistic date to end, violence on the continent, but violence will continue anyway, because we think that we have to handle the structural reasons. But
ending conflict on the continent and enhancing representation at the United Nations.
Let's say that 2030 might not be a realistic date to end, violence on the continent, but violence will continue anyway, because we think that we have to handle the structural reasons of violence and conflicts in our continent, and this will take certainly time. That's why we have what we call Agenda 2063. So, in the slogan in Agenda 2063 is the Africa we want, peaceful, prosperous, and integrated.
Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that the United Nations strategic partnership with African Union has resulted in a unified framework for peace and security.
Today, Africa is home to too many conflicts and too much suffering. In Sudan, I'm gravely concerned by recent reports of mass atrocities and gross human rights violations in El Fasher and worsening violence in the Kordofans. The flow of weapons and fighters from external parties must be cut off. The flow of humanitarian aid must be able to quickly reach civilians in need. The hostilities must stop, and I call on the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces to engage with my personal envoy for Sudan, Ramtan Lamamra, and take swift, tangible steps towards a negotiated settlement.
The deal aims to boost cooperation from conflict early warning to rebuild
and take swift, tangible steps towards a negotiated settlement.
Yabeto amahodo so nsebne so e wo Tanzania ne oman panyina wo hono ye munyamfo Samia Hassan apa eye former finance minister munyamfo in chamber so no enenye ne prime minister.
Hassan. Parliament is expected to approve the nomination when it votes on Thursday. The appointment comes in the wake of Hassan's controversial victory in last month's presidential election. She was declared the winner by a landslide 97% of the vote, but opponents have accused her party of vote rigging and ballot stuffing. The country saw violent protests both before and after the election over the exclusion of her main rivals. Hassan has come under international criticism for her handling of the protests, as well as her human rights record since taking power in 2021. The UN says that hundreds of people were killed in the demonstrations, but the opposition claims it was more than 1,000 and that the security forces were responsible. The government says the death toll was far lower. Forces were responsible. Hundreds of people were killed in the demonstrations, but the opposition claims it was more than 1,000.
Channels wa meseka se buri echegu e Facebook Live Ashanti Prime TV YouTube Ashanti Prime TV and Facebook TikTok and say Ashanti Prime TV sha no comment wa like no wa share e de amame enso ma me de beso mo simeji asantem na dos ye na edi makotini bi ene Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Kingsford Aban Sumana, Baben Efado, Kwan so, 100,000 Ghana cedis, Ekoma, Nuanu Mandra, Dana, say, Nano, ukuada tragedy esi ya 37 military hospital. Samson chief of staff Nyamfo Julius Deborah ekasa yensem we ne nsem awdo pie kan am de besom mo se prime enifia de we are prom to break asie. Ne am de kase besom me dia meje so ene miss now sat makra obia.